Welcome to Paulogia and another edition of Hammy New Year.
Yay. Was I supposed to be enthusiastic? I'm sorry. Yay! Hammy New Year. This is going to be amazing. Everything about this is going to be wonderful. Oh my God.
It's 2020 and it is our third annual special edition of Ham and Egg News.
I'm so jaded and weather-worn and road-weary.
With my special guest, 3 years in a row, Shannon Q. So
it's fine. Everything's fine. This is going to be fine.
So in 2018,
it's fine.
We started this special when Ken Ham and his son-in-law, Bodie Hodge, decided to do an edition of Ham and Egg News where they wandered through the museum using vertical video for some reason, and we did that one. 2019, do you remember? Anyone remember 2019?
Fudge. No one's going to say fudge this time. That's devastating to me. How am I supposed to know when to drink?
Every time he says Genesis,
every time he says Genesis, yeah, that's right.
So this year, once again, Ken had a special edition of his own Answers News show. Are you ready to see exactly what Ken's going to be up to?
I was born ready. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's going to be great. This is we're really pumping up the audience. It's going to be the most okayest ever. I'm excited for Ken's outfit.
Oh, is it the same sweater?
Oh, I don't know. That's right. Oh my gosh, if he isn't wearing that sweater, do you feel like we should take credit for it for like annihilating him 2 years in a row for wearing the same Christmas?
Perhaps Mrs. Ham is a listener and I gave him some suggestions. We'll see.
Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Oh, that's not the sweater.
Oh, that's disappointing. He's just in a poorly fitted suit.
And they've gone with the wireless microphone this year.
Yeah, so they're on a trail. They're not on a string.
They're no longer tethered to the camera person. All right.
And it's not vertical video. Like they're improving year over year. I feel like they should send us a thank you letter. Like right. For all our constructive criticism, helping to improve the quality of their content.
So I'm here at the Creation Museum. This is the last day for our Christmas count event this year.
It's a little early to shut down Christmas time.
Well, I mean, look at all the people busting down the doors. There's that one lady that I can see, and there was that construction worker. There's not even anybody at the ticket desk or whatever that is. Oh, no, that looks like it's a cafeteria.
That is actually new. I've never seen that. So Noah's Coffee and Ice Cream. That was not there last time I was there.
It looks like if you go there again, you won't have to stand in line to wait to see what it's like.
Well,
everybody's outside looking at the lights. That's probably what it is.
Some coffee would really be helpful in the museum.
More booze. I'm just going to, I have like this bowl of wine. I'm going to pound this back and everything will be fine.
But I have a special treat for you today. We want to do a special Answers News.
Special treat.
Yeah. Is it fudge? Last year it was fudge and I was pumped about that.
Oh.
I don't think there's any fudge this year though.
And we're going to go through very quickly, just walk through the brand new exhibits. They're startling, they're stunning, they're spectacular, they're amazing, they're fantastic.
The enthusiasm is contagious. It's contagious. Wow. They're startling, they're stunning, they're spectacular. I think I may have been more excited for this than he is. And I wanted to die.
Jane on Yelp says satisfactory.
I almost choked it up. Like I didn't hate it.
It was 1/3 of the Creation Museum that we totally upgraded. And then we're going to get to the last big...
See this now. The numbers are flashing. I don't know if you see this over Ken's shoulder, like of the old VCR where they haven't set the clock.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
It's just flashing 0.
Exhibit room of the new upgrade, where we actually take the message of my book, The Lie, and put it into an exhibit. The Relevance of Genesis.
The Genesis drink. Is that going to be our game? We need a drinking game where I'm going to die.
Every time he says Genesis, we'll drink.
Every time he says, okay, drink.
And so we're going to basically walk through the space until we get to them. And then that will be our...
Wait. What's Hard Hat McGee doing here?
I was going to say maybe we could drink every time a person walks by, but we just We've just been sitting here for so long.
Other than the Bible is a textbook of this ministry. My book, The Lie, is really the textbook of this
They
ministry.
work there. They could look holding a hard hat.
They definitely worked
They're
there.
both wearing work belts. We're never going to get to down a drink.
But I do feel like perhaps the subtitle of all of his books could be called The Lie.
All right, I'm almost done this wine.
All right, let's go.
Let's
In
party.
regard to our major message. So we're going to go past Mary and Joseph here.
What is Mary doing? What is Mary doing? What is... Who's on their knees there?
They're both virgins at this point, and it's been a long 9 months.
Why is Mary kneeling before Joseph? That's just misogyny central to me. Like,
Yeah.
she's on her knees in front of the dude that didn't do shit. Except for still marry her, even though she was already pregnant, and believe her when she was like, yeah, it's God's. It's God's baby.
Looks just like God. You're right.
This checks out. You're right.
And we've made sure that we've cleared as many people out of the way as possible.
They've cleared away everyone as possible. That's why it's good.
That's why they were like, guys, what I need for you to do, everyone, is to just not go in the museum today.
And
Nailed it.
walk through the initial part of the Creation Museum.
Maybe we could drink on every one of those crazy jump zooms that this guy does.
Oh my gosh. We should have put a content warning at the beginning of this that was like, if you have any sort of vertigo, maybe just listen to the audio. This guy is like, would you like to see this thing really close up right now? How about we zoom back out?
3D glasses, and you actually experience 3D
There's
like
some dude lying on the floor. There's just a random dude on the floor.
Why is he lying?
Why is he on the floor?
Maybe
They did not clear everybody out of there.
He
Because
probably just said, "Hey, look, I'm just gonna get out of frame. I'll be fine. I don't need to clear out."
because that guy's clearly just lying on the floor. Oh my.
Maybe he normally sits on this chair that's there.
I wonder if that chair is like for crowd control. It's like the security chair. And he just fell asleep. He decided to have a nap on the floor.
this is absolutely stunning.
This is essentially what he and Bodhi did 2 years ago.
Yes.
And when he and Bodhi did it 2 years ago, it was completely different. It's actually less stuff in there, it seems like. They just took some stuff away and put more crap on the walls.
Yeah, maybe above us right now will be some kind of link to the video I recently did comparing the old museum and the new museum.
All of that you saw there, we could spend hours and hours and hours. You could spend a lot of time just reading the signs.
Yeah, he'd have to. Yeah. Thank goodness. Or it'd be a quick sprint start to finish, wouldn't it? Worth the price of admission. I mean, there are people banging down the doors to spend a lot of time reading your signs. What? Weird. That's crazy. It would take hours to read those signs.
That's a quote for the poster. You can spend hours reading signs.
You think you've read signs before, but oh no, you have not. You have not read signs until you've read signs in this whatever the hell mix of cultural appropriation is.
The various places the Hebrew people were encamped voluntarily and otherwise. Various places.
Realistically in history or not.
Correct.
But our purpose today for Answers News, this special edition from the Creation Museum.
Oh my God. Jesus, Murphy, Mary, Jesus, Joseph.
We saw Joseph on a statue earlier.
Yes, I know. Mary was saying hi to him. Mary was saying a good old-fashioned Christian hello. My accent's coming out. That's how you can tell I've had more than 2 drinks.
Is to meet with 2 of our production designers right here. As you can see, the title of this exhibit
Genesis, that's 2.
It's 2
That's
drinks.
2.
is the relevance of Genesis. That's the message that really built Answers in Genesis.
He said Genesis.
Drink.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of drinking from here on. This room has a very Genesis-y theme. Is Genesis-y a word?
Genesis S.
What's messed up is that I'm legitimately contemplating what the proper conjugation is when you're considering when something is like Genesis. Like, how do you say that?
Genesis-esque.
I feel like that's right. Genesis-y feels like it's wrong. I'd like it better.
Sounds a little bit like a James Bond title.
And it's really the message of my book, The Lie, which was actually, I wrote the first manuscript back in 1986 and was first published in 19...
Whoa, transition. Whoa.
Holy whiplash, Batman. That'll be our tip for him next year. Maybe get a Steadicam rig of some sort if you're going to wander around.
That's too much. That's abrupt. That's offensive. that hurt my sensibilities.
Some very intriguing ideas. So this is Travis, and this is Alan.
Hi, Travis and Alan.
Travis and Alan, hi.
I have name tags on, but I can't read them.
know. I bet you $1.5 billion. It's so that Ken would remember who was who. There's not another soul in that building wearing a name tag.
Was it
Travis and Alan have?
Okay.
That was so that Ken didn't feel like an idiot when he had no freaking clue who they were when he got there and which was which, if he remembered the two names.
Two of our production designers.
Oh, right? I'm so glad it's not just me. That's too much.
Okay, the message of The Lie is really to challenge the church that if we reject the literal Genesis, we have no...
Genesis! That's true.
I mean, that's the first 4 C's of our creation walk through
Poor
here.
Travis and Alan only get one microphone. And Alan is clearly being generous to Travis.
Right.
Because Alan's holding the microphone to poor Travis. But Travis is just arms behind his back. Like, I'm not taking it. This is your mic, but like, why couldn't they give them 2 microphones? They have a whole studio set up to do Answers News.
2 years ago, they were literally sharing earbuds and had cords attached to them. They've come a long way.
They have, yes. That was hilarious. But now it looks like he can hold his own cell phone. Like, it's been a big year.
They've got their silver play button and everything this year, so they're good.
Oh my gosh, are they over 100,000 subscribers?
120 some now, yeah. But that was just this year. Yeah.
That's bananas.
Christians love to subscribe to stuff.
I know, right? Not our stuff.
No.
Not our stuff.
No. No one wants that.
No.
And then the flood, and then the Tower of Babel. That's actually foundational
Whoa,
too.
there it is.
Are we drinking on the jump cuts as well?
I don't know. We might die.
That's true.
we might die if we do that.
All right, well, get that.
The foundation for the gospel and understanding we're sinners and need of a savior.
If you adopt the YEC fundamentalist evangelical perspective, I find it difficult to refute, because without original sin, there's no need for crucifixion of Jesus. Like, there's no free will and there's no fall without original sin.
Yeah, that's what got me, was not the shaking of my young earthness, but more the fact that, wait, Jesus' plan of salvation and his affirmation of the Old Testament makes no sense.
Right.
Under a old earth creationist or theistic evolutionist view.
And I've never had anybody who still adheres to the Bible and an ability to understand the truth that is deep time and biological evolution hasn't been able to reconcile anything for me. At what point in time during the trajectory of human hominid evolution, when are you imbued with what you would conceive as a unique soul that's in God's image if you accept evolution? I need to find a way to assert what I think happened before the account that's available to me that I feel is the inspired word of God, so that I can explain the inspired word of God. Doesn't that seem messed up a little bit?
You've kind of uncovered the point of this room. This room used to be fighting against atheists, and it had graffiti in it that was graffiti was bad, and now graffiti's great. The point of this room is now actually fighting against the theistic evolutionist or the old earth creationist, someone who accepts evolution but still calls themselves a Christian.
Those are Ken's enemies more so than us.
Right. So the Hugh Rosses and the Biologos are the new enemy of the Ken Ham. Now,
Makes
it's
sense.
difficult to not view this as a book sale type issue.
What? Why? It's completely out of character for him, and I really feel like you should apologize. And also, you're canceled. I'm canceling you. You're canceled. You're canceled right now. Hashtag Paul's canceled.
So first of all, give the general idea here, what you're trying to do.
Yeah, so as you said, the challenge and the task of this space was turning your relevance message into an experience guests could walk through.
That must have been a challenge. How do we turn Ken's bullshit into an experience? But can you imagine somebody hands you Ken's book, The Lie, and says, can you just make this a room? There's no way that wasn't an almost insurmountable task.
It would be true of any nonfiction research book. And
yeah, and how often do people say, make this a room?
Right, so you're going to take...
Well, like, that has to be an anomaly.
The Right Side of History by Ben Shapiro. Make that an attraction in a museum.
12 rules for life.
Yeah, exactly. The ride. 12 rules for life.
It'd just be a lobster roller coaster in the middle while women wander around the room going, can you approve my existence? Because I feel sad if you don't. And men going, I believe in God because it gives me importance, and that's a reason. That would be the room. Whole room. Done. Nailed it.
We set up this symbolism. Just as we're calling guests to reclaim a strong foundation in Genesis, we could represent that through an industrial themed space like this. Our idea is that this was a building built in the turn of the century. It has a strong foundation. Over time, it's been abandoned. It's become kind of torn down, but someone's come to reclaim the strong foundation that's here, and they're beautifying this space. So just as Genesis is a strong foundation, we're representing that here architecturally.
So you have the idea here that an artist comes in here.
I mean, okay, they did a good job. But honestly, what creative idea can we come up with? Well, we're all artists. How about an artist? They didn't stray super far. This is sort of the right what you know.
That's fair. But like, I'm just telling you, like, I would live in this loft. It's nice.
And an artist reclaims this industrial space.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, you're sort of making that analogous to we are reclaiming the foundation of God's word.
I'm not sure, but I feel like they're reclaiming the foundation.
I don't know, but Travis is reclaiming that microphone, so good for him.
Oh, Travis got it.
Explaining the sort of the character that's behind this room, the guy, the dude as we call him.
The dude. I don't think Ken gets the reference. You think Ken gets the reference? Like, he's probably just like, yeah, the kids call people dudes, so like that's cool because they get what's hip with the youngsters.
Right. What Ken doesn't know is that they're talking about a guy who comes in and drinks White Russians all day long.
I love White Russians. Insert the dude B-roll.
Do you want a drink?
Yeah, sure. White Russian.
The bar's over there.
You know, he really is kind of the everyman. Like you'll see throughout the room, you'll see, yes, he's an artist, but he loves to research and read and think. And
This is like their ultimate wish fulfillment. Oh, he's an artist, but he also reads and...
I mean, no spoilers, but once you pan out, there's clearly some books involved. So you're supposed to, I think, have the assumption that all of these books have been read and taken on board. And I've done the research. Look at all the fancy books.
Yes, as certainly it is a tact one might take to, put a background of lots of books in behind one to make one look smarter. Maybe even some of my videos might have some of that.
That's true. Look at all the virtual books Paulogia read.
So an artist that thinks.
it's an artist that thinks and reads. And
Yeah, they're pretending that that's against type for some reason.
I wonder if this is an attempt to appeal to like a younger, more hip, as our friend Ocean says, Starbucks Christian sort of audience.
So I can see up there in a sort of like a loft area.
Jump cut, drink, Genesis, drink.
So our approach in this space, we wanted it to be different than a typical museum space. So we have this backstory about this character. Unlike a normal museum space where you read signs, and here we're reading this.
Jump again. Like, wow, we should have drank for the jumps. You want to see the books? Here they are.
But it's also funny because Alan just said something to the effect of, well, it's not like a normal boring museum space where you just read words on the wall.
Did he really?
Unlike a normal museum space where you read signs,
He did too.
Just totally. We didn't want to do it just the space where you're reading signs.
As opposed to everything up until now. I can't even breathe. Because Ken it'll take you hours to read all of the amazing things that we've put on these walls. Have you seen the stuff on our walls? And then and Travis and Ellen, having not heard anything that Ken said before now, are like, normal museums, you're just reading junk on walls, just literally shit posted on walls. Nobody likes that. And then there's this room, and there's only some shit on these walls. Oh, my face hurts.
we're kind of looking over his shoulder and looking at his journey.
That's a Genesis drink.
Drink.
So as people walk into this space, we see the sign, the relevance of
Genesis.
Genesis. I mean, that's all of our
Every time
speakers.
they show it,
Should we do it every time it's an extreme close-up instead? Because they did it like immediately after I said Genesis. They were like, boom, would you like to see Genesis? Here it is in your face, bitches. Bam, close-up.
also, I've been to a lot of museums, and
That sounds boring.
Natural.
That was a bad joke because I love museums.
I've never had to see like, hey, relevance of dinosaur exhibits.
Relevance of the sun.
Relevance of colonial times. It's not like, no, you don't see any of that.
Relevance of history. Oh my God, that's such a good point. Seriously, guys, it's relevant.
That's the foundation. Genesis 1 to 11, the foundation of all that.
Genesis.
Drink.
The journal entries, our thought was the artist did these first. This is kind of like his brainstorming, and that was
Well, we can't really the same sign over and over again as we're drinking.
Take it up with Zoomy McZoomersons. It zooms into. No.
I will.
You should.
Zoomy McZoomerson is wrecking my sobriety.
There's 2 Genesis in that frame, by the way.
Given the debate over the meaning of right and wrong, I realize that the proper foundation for addressing all these issues found in Genesis.
Genesis. We're going to be hammered.
Gonna be.
We're going to be more hammered. We're going to be exponentially hammered.
Hammer time.
Too legit. Too legit to go.
Oh, okay, I've heard God could use did God use evolution? Could God have used millions of years?
Genesis.
Drink.
Have a look at the floor.
Yeah.
Now, I saw it when we had contractors come in and they laid this beautiful floor. And then you guys got on there and you thumped it and you scratched it and you put dents in it and you put paint all over it. And
I like that.
You like the distressed floor?
Yeah, I do. I like that it was clear that art took place there. This is a Travis and Allen endorsement. Again, I would get them to decorate my space, like for real. Hundo.
and then the week after we came and we did all kinds of stuff to it. We threw hammers at it.
I'd be very curious to go up to that loft space and just open up those books and see what they say. See if there's literally anything in them.
I get a sense we're not allowed to go up there.
There's a spiral staircase. It looks like you can get up there. You know, I'd get up there. If there's a way to get up there, I'd get up there.
There's a big difference between supposed to be up there and will Shannon be up there.
That's legit. That is legit. Yep.
And we wanted to capture that, so we sealed it all in. And our cleaning staff, I think at first was a little concerned, but then we explained the whole.
they thought they'd
idea.
have to get all that off, right?
Yeah.
Ken's like, what's it like to talk to the cleaning staff? Do they have name tags?
So again, you've made this look like an old industrial building and the windows are sort of glazed over.
Yeah.
And
Glazed over is kind of how the visitors are as well. But
I wouldn't be. I would be like bright-eyed bushy tail
that's how security would know that you're in trouble.
because I was excited to be there. Because I was like, yes!
Having been there, someone who's really enthusiastic about being there is suspicious on its own right.
They're just like, why do you like it here? Like, and most people think this is dumb. Why do you think that's cool?
That's right.
One is that captures your eye immediately over here, is it looks like one of those, well, one of those videos you would see in a video arcade. Is that what, that's what it's meant to be?
Yeah. Travis, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it was a concept we had early on, just that we wanted to have some fun with the castles diagram.
That's my favorite part. Is that Ken doesn't recognize that they put his classic argument
Right, the classical diagrams are using since the 80s.
right.
Right.
They put it into a retro arcade game.
Yeah.
After we spent all of this time talking about this amazing space, in this corner, we have this antiquated technology showing you what Ken's arguments were, but it's not ultimately relevant to the concept of this entire space. It's just something that we've placed in the corner. This is what the arguments were. Back in the old days, they okay boomered him. They okay boomered him into essentially like, this is the Pac-Man version of this argument. And I love it. That's my favorite part.
Our AV team just did such a fun job putting this thing together, and
It says in the 1980s right on there.
It does too. I didn't notice that initially. Okay, boomer.
So the castle diagrams, many people who've heard me speak know I've been using them since the 70s.
Yeah. You sure have.
Because it's like, yeah, this is how long I've been using this. This is how old this presentation is. Do you want to talk about irrelevant, Noel? Let's go into 6 decades ago, because now it's in the 2020s.
You're showing on the video there the way in which the castles have evolved. I can use that word in the right way.
In the right There's a right way and a wrong way to use the word evolved. The right way to use the word evolved is to apply to Ken Ham's retro video game representation of what God's word is. The wrong way is a scientifically verified. This is the right way because you've been applying it the wrong way. If there's not a castle involved, wrong. There better be a goddamn castle, or so help me Jesus. I will hold you to task, Paul. God damn it.
Just showing those castles sums up the entire ministry.
Ken should really, nobody puts baby in the corner.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
The heck out of this. But he doesn't even seem to recognize that that's what's happening.
No, he's delighted. He's delighted at how modern this 1986 video game is.
It's at 1980, and he was like, that's the future.
Yeah, this is really the culminating exhibit in the Relevance of Genesis space.
Frank. Like, I get it. They left this space unkempt so that they could project the new vision onto the previous foundation. I really have to kind of respect Travis and Alan. A lot of this from an artistic perspective is actually really interesting. Like the choices are interesting. And while you're standing there, you're still seeing, like within your purview are the books that you perceive as belonging to someone who's done the research and has still come to these conclusions. Conceptually, as an art project, I'm not even mad at it. From sending a message of truth, I'm frustrated with it. But conceptually, as a piece of art, I'm not mad at it.
The age of the earth is an incredible emotional issue in the church and in the secular world. In the secular world, because if they don't have millions of years, they can't propose evolution.
Okay, But don't they accept microevolution?
Yes.
Well, he just said if you don't accept millions of years, and really it's billions, then you can't propose evolution. But they accept that.
Right. After the animals came off the ark, there were two feline type creatures.
Kinds, Paul. Sort it out, Paul. Kinds.
There were two felines.
Kinds.
There were two felines.
Kinds.
No,
There's two feline kind.
After the ark, they believe in very rapid microevolution, so that within about 100 years of the ark landing, that all of the species that we are familiar with now quickly arose, and that God probably guided that adaptation. So, for example, they would put llamas and camels and that kind of thing into the same kind. But yet in the Bible, within 100 years of the flood, they have separate camels and llamas and horses and things like that. So they have to accept extremely rapid microevolution.
So you're saying that there was speciation.
Sure.
So whatever the kind was created a distinct lineage between llamas and camels where they could no longer interbreed, but were clearly originated from the same kind. Like within 200 to 1,000 years, whatever. Like that just happened rapidly.
Correct. I just pulled up the answers in Genesis page about their kinds, and yes,
I don't even know if I want to know. I don't know if I want to know.
They're adapting, so they prefer the word adaptation to microevolution.
Oh.
So, like, if they would say, like, if you took a bunch of
me. In 100 years, they speciated.
Correct. Yeah.
Like macroevolution can happen that quickly.
That's one of the things that I wish people would press creationists on more, because they have to accept an insanely quick speed of these adaptations.
As people who want to explain everything without God said, the fossil layers were laid down over millions of years, not from the flood.
Random Pepsi shout out here.
I noticed that too. I was like, did they ask Pepsi if that was cool?
Maybe Pepsi's the official drink of the Creation Museum. I'm not
For the record, Pepsi, I'm not going to pussyfoot that. Like, if you send them money, that's essentially you saying, you know what's fun? Not science, not legitimate education. What is neat is thinking that the world is like, I don't know, 6,000 years old and that LGBT rights don't matter. I am actually drinking cherry diet Pepsi right now because it's now available in Canada. But so help me God, I'll stop. So help me God, I'll stop, Pepsi. Test me.
He actually writes down about death and how can you have death and disease before sin.
Hey, there's some shit on the walls.
I was more interested in the exit. I was like, hey, there's an exit. We could get out of here, but apparently...
One of the really cool things is I took my son through here, he was 4. He sat here and he watched it like probably 3-4 times in a row and just totally took it in. He really loved it. And then the next day, just out of the blue, as little 4-year-olds do, he quotes the last and he says, you know, Mommy, I want God to turn brokenness back to beauty. I mean, it was just such a cool thing seeing, you know, such a little kid just connect with this video.
Indoctrinating kids, that's what we want. That's what it's all about.
Well, look, Shannon, the adults aren't buying it, so we gotta go somewhere.
Hence the homeschool curriculum. Hence the reference to the 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And like, to say that I brought my child in here, my child who knew I created this space and is looking for affirmation from me, and showed him this tome with this projection that I purposefully constructed to elicit emotions from people just like my child. And he or she took one of the references that I explicitly and purposefully and deliberately placed on this tome and referenced it based on the emotion that I was attempting to elicit from the video that I was presenting and the space that I had constructed, and affirmed that I had absolutely achieved my goal of eliciting that emotion in this instance from somebody who isn't capable of discerning information from emotion and contextualizing it appropriately. The fact that that happened with my child, that's a feather in my cap.
Or you can just listen to it. You can come and read it. But it's the message of the gospel beginning in Genesis.
Genesis.
Drink. The parenting stuff just pisses me off. To say, I walked my 4-year-old through here and they felt the feelings that I was attempting to elicit. So, high five for me. I did it. Did you ask your 4-year-old, why do you feel this way, buddy? What made you think that? How are you sure? This is what everybody, I think, should teach their kid. Analyze what you believe and why. Be critical of yourself. Be discerning of information. Question, am I just believing this because it's convenient, or am I believing it because it's true? And if you want them to find truth, you shouldn't be afraid to do that.
If your dad sells insurance and you're 4, you're going to say, hey, insurance is really cool.
That's the problem. Whatever your dad does, you're going to attempt to affirm. And if you do not give them space to question where you sit, if you don't say to them, you know what, I could be wrong too. But no matter what happens, me and you, we got this together. I got you, you got me. We'll figure this out together because you and me are what's important. That's what kids need.
There's a reason he told that anecdote, is because they're hoping that people will be delighted.
I know, it's an appeal to emotion because other people will be like, oh, I can bring my kids there and they'll believe the things that I believe, and that'll be an emotional experience that me and my kid can have together because they believe the things that I believe too, and then we can share that.
Yeah.
And we have the dinosaur exhibit and other little exhibits there in the Creation Museum, and we're building a pro-life exhibit.
We are, that's right.
2020.
Yes.
God damn it.
Yeah, you're going to be excited about that.
I am not going to be excited about that. You are incorrect. You are so dramatically incorrect.
Shannon? Shannon? And we've lost her. But that's okay. Ken and crew are done anyhow. If for some reason you don't already subscribe to Shannon Q's channel, find the link in the description and fix that today. If there's one thing we can count on with these New Year's editions of Ham and Egg News, it's that we'll find a way to make them memorable, even if Ken isn't committed to doing the same. Happy 2020, everyone.